Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we've got In the Bayou. So for those of you just tuning in, creepypasta are short internet stories that get copied and pasted across the internet. The slang got turned into copy pasta, and then the creepy ones are creepypasta. So, In the Bayou, you can check it out, creepypasta.wiki or creepypasta.com. You can also check out a really good reading from Mr.Creepypasta on YouTube. So go check it out. Awesome. And we'll get right into the rundown. So In the Bayou is this person's just like they're telling a story about that they had when they were, or that they like this event that happened to them one day when they had to walk down this old lonely road to their home from their work because their roommate fell asleep when they tried to call them, and this person doesn't have a car. And so for the first part of it, it's just kind of like saying, like, I don't know, like the narrator is very angry at the beginning of this whole thing toward their roommate, because he doesn't work, he doesn't pay the bills at all when for the place they're renting out, and yet he has a car.
Into that. You read more into that. He just doesn't work. Doesn't say that he doesn't contribute financially. It
even says that. Yeah, he says I'm paying the bills half the time.
Yeah, half the time. That's
all right,
how roommates go.
I see. Well, so and the narrator works at this shitty fast food place. And this night he or she, because I kind of attributed it to a she, but I don't know, it just seemed like, the narrator was a she to me. Anyway, they are working the night shift and they're closing up, and they go to get a call. They go to call their roommate, not answering, so they have to walk an hour and a half down part of suburban sprawl and then into the bayou, or down this dirt road where their house is. And they're not really looking forward to it, but they do it anyway. So they grab like an energy drink from a gas station, head out. And for like a good couple of paragraphs is just explaining like what they expect for this trip, and like what her thought process is for most of it. Like she's worried about like gang members and
again,
I'm sorry, it's in my head when I was reading it. So
well, drop it.
All right,
You're
fine.
supposed to be impartial, motherfucker.
Fine. So they get past all, like, the first half hour is usually pretty good because it's all like lit up and stuff. But then they get to the dirt road where the bayou is, and they start walking down that and try to pass the time by not paying attention to all the weird sounds that are popping up from the bayou. And then as they are complaining about their feet starting to get wet because of the soggy earth, they look ahead and see that there's a figure in the up ahead of them, and that kind of freaks them out. And then they're trying to rationalize why it's like that. It's no big deal. It's just another person. And then they realize that this person isn't walking normal. And then they realize that the limbs on this, there's things off about it. Like the limbs are proportioned wrong. And the neck is too long for a person, and it has glowing yellow eyes. So it gets fairly close to the narrator, and then just lets out this like horrible screeching sound, like clicking and stuff. And then after that, there's some lights up ahead, and it's the car of their roommate. Has shown up finally, because they finally got the texts and emails or the messages and stuff. And the creature or the thing looks to it, hisses, and then looks to the person or to the narrator, and then goes on all fours and just crawls into the bayou. With this, and then that's pretty much the end of the story. Is that the character gets picked up by their roommate, and as soon as they can, they're out of there. They're out of that house in the bayou, like that's on the bayou and stuff, and that's the end of the story. It's like a very short and out of your way. So, sorry for if that rundown was a little jittery.
That rundown, well, I mean, you talked about more than this story needs to be talked about for a rundown.
Fair enough.
Because basically they walk home, they see the thing, the car comes...
And they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick creepypasta.
It's also pretty boring.
I suppose. I liked the idea of it, like what the story was trying to get across, which was like the cautionary tale of like, don't go into the bayou or there's things.
So you like this?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Oh god.
No. This is great. This is great because I'm gonna make you hate it.
Okay.
Because if you changed just one thing about this, you would have a way creepier story.
What's that?
Have the figure be behind our main character. And they look back, and then it's like, oh, what the hell? Like, I didn't pass anyone, so they must be coming the same way as me, but like, there's no way they've been following me through the suburbs and shit. Okay, and then, walking, getting a little creeped out, but not really, and then look back and, oh, shit, closer, and start walking a little faster, and, like, just prolong
get the fear
it,
of being,
like...
the fear of being trailed.
Exactly, and then, and then you just keep doing that on, and then, if you wanted to go really fucking badass, okay, so the car comes, right, have it go the same way.
Yeah.
But then if you want to go really fun... The next night, main character's working the night shift again, gets a lift home from, a coworker or whatnot.
Yeah.
And everyone in the house is dead.
At
Slaughtered horribly.
Oh.
Because
Shit.
it followed them.
Shit.
Yeah, all of a sudden you don't like this one anymore.
Suddenly,
at least not as
better.
much.
Yeah, it's suddenly a lot better. Yeah, no, like I mean, I'm not gonna say like it's fantastic, like it's amazing or anything. I did enjoy reading it, and then until you expanded on what it should have been.
Yeah, it was. Well, I don't know. I read it and I was just like, it's completely lackluster. Like there is nothing.
It focuses
really...
a lot more on the walk. Like, and how much this person is complaining that they have to walk an hour and a half in darkness and, like, talking about, like, all the idiosyncrasies of, like, what that's going through this person's mind on their walk, even on the first half hour.
And I'm not even saying drop that. I'm just saying, like, there's not really anything inherently creepy about that. Like, okay, there is, but... Not really that
not the way,
bad.
I will say, not as much as, like, the person was describing, like, the very beginning, like, she's like, or they're like, I'm terrified, like, I'm absolutely terrified because of what I encountered. And so, and, like, going overboard with, like, describing how terrified they are of this whole situation. And then when we finally get the reveal of the encounter, it's like, yeah, that's really fucked up. But I wouldn't be fully. I mean, I'd be semi-shocked and freaked out by like.
I actually
and stuff,
just would have rationalized it as I was panicking in the dark and seeing things.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be like.
That's what any rational thinking person would do.
And what presumably this person's trying to get across for most of the story, like saying it's like I rationalized this because, or this is what was going in my head as I tried to rationalize this.
Yeah, it just
like for somebody who's trying to rationalize everything, you're not rationalizing a lot.
I've had this happen.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, obviously I didn't see a monster, but,
have just like, another person walking.
You see well, you see something or what have you, and I mean...
Oh, God, yeah.
Even, like... Because, I mean, I grew up out in the sticks, so, like, I mean...
You can kind of relate.
Sometimes, what we would do for entertainment is go for a walk at night for, hours, because, seriously, there's nothing else on. We had 4 channels on the television growing up, so... Yeah.
Take a walk out in the at night and...
And, yeah, young teenager, like, your imagination gets away from you. I mean, and... Yeah, you're creeped out, but then, you get home and, you rationalize it because you're like, well, okay, it was just whatever, trick of the light, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you don't move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, like, I'm done with this place. Well, honestly, like, I could see her, or I could see them... We'll get to that in a second. I'll see them moving because they don't want to fucking like have this incident where they can't get a hold of anybody and they have to walk that fucking way.
Yeah, but they should have before.
Exactly.
They should have already wanted to.
And also, like, this, like, who, like, what kind of, like, why would you rent out a place on the bayou that far away from, like, anywhere if you don't have a car to begin with?
I don't know. Maybe
Like,
it was the only thing they could afford at the time.
That's the only thing I can really think.
I mean,
of, too, so.
we're not told explicitly why, so I can't really.
Yeah. You don't want to go
I mean?
into full assumptions. So.
Exactly. Like
we've had this discussion before, and I understand. It's just there's there's plot holes in this story.
Well, there aren't really plot holes because there isn't really much of a plot.
Yeah, it's more of less.
You can't have holes in something that already doesn't really exist.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, it does. Like, I think the other thing why I like this one is that as much as it like does not work like a normal like some of the stories we've had in the past, it does feel like a friend has just told me a creepy encounter they had like the other week or something like that, or the other month.
Well, no friends that I have because I don't know anyone who lives in the bayou, but.
No, but I mean like that kind of story where like that you tell like a tall tale about like that one night when you were walking around in like the summer or something like that and down the old road you were in. I don't know. It just or talking to a friend about a weird encounter. It kind of felt like that to me, even though the person is like talking to I don't know. We don't know who they're talking to aside from us, and just telling us this really messed up story. So
yeah, but I wouldn't tell anyone this story because they'd just look me dead in the eye and be like, "So you overreacted?
Yeah,
have fun." You know, like it's just there's nothing really creepy here. I don't really get why this was written. That's
I think that
my big gripe with it.
Like as you mentioned, within like seconds of the rundown being done, this could have been so much creepier.
Oh yeah,
like even the monster as it was, like
and
it wasn't just,
even without
like,
the murder at the wholesale murder at the end, it still would have been creepier.
Yeah, hell, I mean, to maybe if you don't want to have murder, like have they get back to their house that night or the next night, and like his roommate comes back the next night and like gives him a ride, and they get back to the house and things have been like rifled through.
Yeah,
like don't even have like murder, just like something like it followed them home and rifled through their shit. Like that's just as creepy.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have been
really good.
Yeah,
and the description they give for the entity, it's good that they kept it ambiguous because it leaves your mind to wander to figure out or to try and like fill in some of the dots, but. At the same time, it's not a very creepy.
It's a little too vague.
I almost expected like, "Don't be afraid," like the Mr. Burns thing. Like that. That's kind of what I saw when I first read the description. I was like, "Oh, so it's Mr. Burns after he's taken his meds and wandered off into the woods." But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Just with the description, I found that it was too vague. I couldn't actually picture it.
Yeah, like it was some kind of like so what was it? Some kind of distended corpse that came out of the bayou, like because it was jerking around, so it was like something like undead. But you're not. Yeah, again, like there's not enough. Like it's too ambiguous.
I couldn't picture it, and that that's especially a real problem for me.
Even like the limbs
because
position on the torso,
it's like I can picture a lot. Like when I read the description of one of Lovecraft's
unnameable or indescribable horrors,
indescribable
they're pretty
horrors,
described.
I can see it, and it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's another thing. It's like Lovecraft. They're unnameable, yet they're called Yog-Sothoth, Azathoth. They're undescribable, except they have
You're onto a tangent.
Yes,
that's completely unrelated.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Because this thing, like again, like it's still like with this.
Yes, but this one isn't. This one is poorly described, whereas his are
usually
very well
good.
Described.
All right, fine, fair
enough. So yeah, when I can, picture
something much
like the indescribable horrors from Lovecraftian lore and, the crazy things that Clive Barker describes in his books, but I can't see this in my head.
Yeah.
You've done something wrong, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And I did pick up on that when I was reading it. Okay, one thing I do want to touch on because of what happened at the rundown. So when you were reading this, what gender did you get like that the narrator was? Not that it matters. It's just for some reason when I was reading it, I was like I couldn't figure out like it was my mind kept going to like the feminine.
It was totally a dude for me.
Okay.
Just the way they were with the whole trying to get a hold of their roommate. I don't know. It just it reminded me of like a dude's behavior, not a dame's behavior.
Fair enough.
That being said, maybe I'm insulting someone, or maybe you are. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure we're insulting somebody with this.
Or maybe we both are.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else after that. It's...
well, and as much ragging on this as I have been doing, I gotta say one good thing, because you gotta give credit where credit is due. I could see the bayou.
Yeah.
I was in the bayou.
Yeah.
I was walking down that lonely,
dirt
road, bordered on swamp. I mean, I didn't grow up in an area around with a lot of swamp around, so like, yeah, I walked, with forest on either side of me, but never have I actually literally walked with swamp on either side. And when I read this story, I could see it, and it was crystal clear, and I could hear the wildlife, and like, like I said, credit where credit is due. This isn't really a great story
for the monster wise, anyway.
Well,
but
for the monster and for just the
trying to
complete lack of event.
Yeah, like it's more or less just a documentation of this person's walk home.
Yeah,
and I mean, again, that can be done well.
Well,
as long
as there's something done well.
Yeah, that part of it was done well. Like the environmental atmosphere was done very well.
But if they'd have put
something
the silhouette behind, like if they'd have put the form behind them and stretched that out and made it more of a thing, because that's what it was really missing, was like the internal monologue of oh, that how long has this person been following me?
Like I don't remember seeing anybody behind me when I was in the suburbs.
And are they actually following me? And then you turn back around, they're a little closer, and then okay, now they're catching up to me. I'm gonna speed my pace up because I don't want them catching up to me. And then
they still
get closer, and it's like, okay, and then they get to the point where they can hear them behind, like they can hear it behind, but they're too terrified to turn around. And they're just about to run, and then the lights crest a hill or come around a bend, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, the ungodly shriek and the splash.
Yeah, and just not even, see the thing, drop on all fours and run off. Just hear that scream behind them, and then, a few minutes, hear some skittering, and then water. And so that would be awesome. And then again, have it they get back the next night, they continue it with the next,
you don't even have to do it. It could just end there, and that would have been fine. But the whole encounter, the actual encounter, is so short in this story.
Yeah,
and it really needed to be drawn out, just not done in such a hurry.
Because they spent so much time at the beginning of the story, and then kind of just...
Yeah, they get you this good build-up, and they get you in the world, and then, you finally get to the weird shit going down, and, there's not much left, there's not much of that encounter to say, and then they just go on, they just get it out and get it over with, instead of, okay, you put me in this walk, I'm right there beside you, walking this walk, but... when the event happens, they don't maintain that and keep you with them.
Yeah.
They just and then all this happened in the car, and then I was safe, and then I moved. And I will never go there again.
Because I am traumatized. Yeah. Now I gotta rethink my position on this, because I still like the idea of the story, but the way it's been... the idea for expanding it is so much better.
Well, and so that's the thing. This isn't well done. It's unfinished. It's there needs to be changes for this to be good. It's not horrible. It's just kind of there, and then it's not.
Yeah, like they need to go back for a second draft.
This isn't shitty. This isn't horrible. It's just meh. And I almost think that that's more offensive than if it had been like just
really
absolute
bad
trash. Like it's just, I don't know. Anytime I've ever written something, I've never ever wanted to get the reaction of meh.
Yeah.
And this totally just makes me go meh.
Okay. Writing wise, it was. I mean, aside from the fact that it was really short, like everything else felt really good for the.
There's a lot of mistakes in there, just simple grammar mistakes. But again, the writing's good.
Yeah, for the
like I said, I mean, I was in the Bayou, and I've never been to the Bayou.
Yeah.
So I was probably in more of a caricature of the Bayou, but that's because my lack of experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not I'm not gonna knock this person's writing ability, but
maybe have a second look at it and
not even that, because just. Like, this is what they did. This is, like, they fucked up. They made me go meh. But, like, they put me on the road. They just didn't make me care about what happened on the road.
Ah.
And that's the real problem, really.
Gotcha. All right.
So, it was well done, and...
It's just had a very...
And the mood was set for me to be... really creeped out. Well, not really creeped out, but creeped out.
Yeah.
And then, like...
Kind of just like, and then this happened, but...
Yeah.
Like we've been going over. Okay. What would you recommend? Or would you recommend it or no?
No. Especially if they've already listened to us, because I've given a better, more creepy story. At least in my opinion.
Like honestly,
I think
thinking about that now, that would have done it.
And it's just one change.
Yeah.
Put the figure behind them, and it stretches it out. Because, two people walking towards each other, even if one of them's walking all screwy, it's not a long thing.
Yeah, because they're gonna intersect.
Two people walking in the same direction, and one overcoming the other.
Well, now you're
that
emulating
takes longer. Like that inherently takes more time.
Yeah, and it also naturally emulates the fear, or like an aspect of the fear of being like caught, which it may not like actively invoke it, but like you in the back of your mind, it's like it's getting closer, it's getting closer, it's gonna.
Well, yeah, but when it's coming towards you, it's getting closer. It's getting closer.
Yeah, but when it's behind you, you're a lot more vulnerable. You don't get to see when it gets you. At least that's what I feel when like that kind of thing happens. When like there's somebody behind you and you're not sure what their intentions are. It's a lot creepier than if something was coming towards you because you're facing it head on.
Sure, that's not what I was going for.
Okay.
Like I was honestly just going for it would stretch it out, and I mean, if it works on more than one level, fine.
Yeah.
Again, really, it just shows how
much more effective that would have been.
Yeah, and how ineffective this is.
Yeah. Yeah, because, again, I still like it because of the, like, just that whole, like, friend of a friend of mine kind of the tale, because that's kind of what it feels like. But thinking on it now, probably couldn't recommend it as to just anybody, or, like, just for anything, like, for a creepypasta to read. Like, maybe if you're a connoisseur of creepypastas, or even just like you like those kind of friend of a friend little short stories, like it's gonna like you read it for like 5-10 minutes and then you're done. Or heck, go listen to the reading, because the reading's pretty good. But yeah, I guess I couldn't recommend it as some of the like in terms of like an actual creepypasta.
I would actually recommend like Russian Sleep Experiment over this. Yeah, because with Russian Sleep Experiment, you feel something. You don't read Russian Sleep Experiment and go meh. I mean, sure,
you're like
what you feel is rage and despair for the human race and all of those fun things. But at least you feel something. You read this and you feel nothing.
Okay, see, I don't agree with that, because again, like I wouldn't.
Okay. Yeah. You're allowed to be wrong.
Uh-huh.
I make those allowances for my friends. You cultist are my friend, and you're allowed to be wrong.
Thank you.
Just don't abuse that privilege.
I'll try not to. Alright, so I guess general consensus would not recommend, and only slightly would not recommend. So, I guess that's it for this week. Since that's pretty much, I don't know, like, do you have anything else to say about, without going back to what we've been talking about?
Yeah, without retreading ground, there's really...
It is a short pasta, so...
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you get points for that, but...
That's also, yeah, that's... Because it's out of your way once you've been reading
if it had been longer, it would have been better, so you kind of, you know...
You also lose some of those points.
Exactly. It's a catch-22, because, you know, sometimes you don't want to be, you know, boring, and sometimes you kind of want
to... Like, you try not to be crappy, but sometimes you don't want to be as boring, like, or meh.
Sometimes you don't want to be... Well, I mean, yeah, like... A short pasta is always good, at least for me, because, you know, when I'm reading it, I have to read it. So a short one's always good, but, you know, I'm willing to stick out, you know, for a good story if it's a little longer.
Yeah. So some potential for this one, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it gave me a really good idea.
Yeah.
So
thank you whoever wrote this one. Yeah, so I guess, that's the show tonight. If you have any comments regarding it, send us an email or send us a comment in this comment section below, wherever this gets posted. We're on iTunes, so send us a review. Let us know your thoughts. Like I said, on the email, so you can send it to aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like to see us discuss on the show. So, until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.